said history is a great teacher, and that is what our last but the signature session is. It's about investment lessons from the great epics. And to chair the session, can I please invite Anurag Rastogi, Chair 23 GCA, on the stage, please? Can I request members to please take a seat? Now, can I please invite our eminent speaker, Mr. Nilesh Shah, CEO, Kotak Mahindra AMC, and part-time member of the Economic Advisory Council, 2 PM, India. Nilesh is a very known voice in the investment domain. I request Mr. Nilesh to come on stage. Anurag, request you to take the session.
May I request somebody to get our delegates from outside into the room? This is one of the most important sessions of our conference by somebody who is one of the topmost fund managers of the country. His profile is already out there, and I'm sure a lot of people, most of you would know him. You Google his name, and you will get hundreds of videos of investment advice from Nilesh Bhai. Lovingly, people call him Nilesh Bhai. He is Mr. Nilesh Shah, who is a gold medalist, who has been the chairman of AMFI, who is currently the CEO of Kotak AMC, and one of the best fund managers in the country. In a country where people do not understand investment, do not trust in equity and capital markets, his role has been absolutely phenomenal in creating a culture of equity investment and investment in broader capital markets. And you heard today morning from Mr. Rajaraman, chairman of the IFSCA, how the number of demat accounts have grown to almost 80 million in the country today. And so hats off to Nilesh Bhai for having driven that culture in the country. What makes him even a different fund manager from everybody else is that, and I will relate it to actuarial science. Like actuarial science, investment is also considered to be a very, very complex and difficult subject. And he has tried to simplify investment philosophy by linking the investment philosophy to the allegories and the stories from our great epics, which are revered by people of all faiths in India. And so you will see that when he speaks, he draws a parallel between the different philosophies of investment and the learnings from Mahabharata and Ramayana. And also, we as actuaries deal with long-term investment also, and you will hear from him how investment is also a long-term product and not a short-term product. That is trading and not investment. And so, I will wait for a couple of minutes to let people settle down. I'll request somebody to close the door, and then we begin the session in a minute or so. So, I will not come between you and Mr. Nilesh Shah, and will request Mr. Nilesh Shah to deliver his talk on the learnings of investment philosophy from our great epics. Over to you.
Hi, very good afternoon to all of you. Day before yesterday, my niece got fellowship in the same place, and I've seen her studying so hard. So I know how much effort all of you would have put in to become actuary. And heartiest congratulations to all of you who have conquered that Chakravyuh to emerge victorious. It's not an easy exam, it's not an easy subject, but glad to see there are so many actuaries in India. Now the topic given to me is about money. Normally, when you go out speaking about money, at least there is someone in the audience who will say, "Arey Nilesh bhai, kya baat kar rahe ho? Money is not everything in life. You should not run after money." And then usually I tell him that, yes, my mother also told me that. But when I grew up and come into the market, I found this quote very reasonable and appropriate. Warren Buffett said, "Money is not everything in life. Money doesn't matter. But make sure that you have made enough money before you make such statement." So money is important. On Valentine's Day, you may think rose is important. But trust me, and this is the latest joke I have got on WhatsApp, so I must talk about it. रोज देने वाला तो खाली फरवरी में दिखेगा. The person who gives you rose on a Valentine Day will be seen only in February. But the person who does systematic investment plan for you, he or she is actually caring for you. So money is important. Of course, as MasterCard says, money cannot buy everything. But trust me, if you have money in pocket, then you can buy lots of things. Now, all of us in our heart know that money is important. And yet, all of us does not have financial security or financial freedom. Why does that happen? There are about 18 crore Indians who have traded in cryptos to lose money. 18 crore Indians. There are about 10 crore Indians who are addicted to gaming and they play poker, rummy, Dream 11, something else, and lose money. There are about 2 crore Indians who have lost money in Ponzi scheme. The schemes which offer you 2% return a month or 3% return a month. There was a company called Punjab Agrotech Corporation Limited, PSCL, Nirmal Singh Bhangu. They defrauded people of 60,000 crore 20 years back. Why do people lose money? Why do people not save money or invest wisely? First question or first feedback could be, it's all about education. If people are financially literate, if people are educated, then they will do right thing. Let me break that myth for you. How many of you are from Kerala? Not even one guy or girl? Good. Kerala is India's most educated state. They are way above every other state in India. And yet, the cumulative equity mutual fund AUM of Kerala retail people is about 15,000 crore. And every year Kerala spends money on buying lottery in excess of 15,000 crore. After delivering 15-20% compounded return, the mutual fund industry has got about 15,000 crore accumulated over decades. And a lottery wala, where you are guaranteed to lose money, collects 15,000 crore every year. So education is no paneka for financial freedom. How do you make people aware about finance? How do you push people to secure their financial freedom? I started as a debt fund manager way back in '97. I used to talk about duration, convexity, yield curve flattening, yield curve steepening. Invariably, people used to go to sleep. Most of the time I was called during evening and night time so that audience can go to sleep. But then no one would give me money. And which is where I thought there are three things in India which sells: Bollywood, cricket, and our scriptures. I started using all those three in my presentations. And my career thereafter has taken off. Now people don't go to sleep, they actually give me money. Now, let me share some stories of scriptures which you are fully aware of and which will hopefully give you some tools for securing your financial freedom. All of us would have read Ramayana. Valmiki ji and Tulsidas both have written Ramayana, and both confirms that Lanka was made of gold. There's no mention of Ayodhya having golden city. Now to think of it, a city founded by a demon, run by a demon, is prosperous and is having golden city. And city which was founded by God, there's no mention of golden city. It will be fair to assume that Lankans were far richer than Ayodhyavasi. Now, neither Valmiki ji nor Tulsidas ji gave any explanation about it, that how come the followers of God or the God himself was poorer than the demon. But I did a lot of research and have arrived at this conclusion. The Ayodhyavasi were like us Indians, day traders. FNO में ट्रेड करते थे, क्रिप्टो में ट्रेड करते थे, NFT में ट्रेड करते थे, net. On the other hand, Lankans were following Kumbhakarna style of investing. They used to buy stock and go to sleep for 14 years. They knew the meaning of long-term investment, and no wonder their city was made of gold. So at least Ramayana teaches us that if you want to live in the city of gold, be a long-term investor like Kumbhakarna. In real life, is it possible? And I'll give you a small example. There is a couple whom I know. I can't call them my friends, but I know them. The husband-wife used to start from Khar, a suburb in Mumbai. Wife will drop husband at Shivsagar Estate, Worli, go to Flora Fountain, and then on return pick up husband from Shivsagar Estate, Worli, and go back to Khar. The first branch of HDFC Bank was opened at Sendo's house, Worli, in Shivsagar Estate. And every day she'll come to drop husband, she'll see HDFC Bank branch open. Namaste, Sunil bhai. In those days, bank branches used to work from 11 to 3:30 or 3. And she'll drop her husband at 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30, 10. and every time HDFC Bank was open. She'll come to pick up husband at 7, 8, 9 in the night, and yet HDFC Bank was open. She used to see more number of people in HDFC Bank branch than any other PSU bank branch. After observing that for about 2-3 months, she thought to herself that this bank branch seems to be working harder than PSU bank branch, seems to be working longer, has more number of customers. Let me go and buy some HDFC Bank shares. She bought about 2,000 HDFC Bank shares in those days. And HDFC Bank was expensive bank in those days. And yet with that one single investment, she did wonderfully well compared to her husband. A simple common sense observation ensured that she was secured financially. Long-term investment does make sense. And there are many such examples of people who have created financial security by becoming long-term investor. So every time you get a call from your broker to trade, think of Kumbh Karna. Hopefully that will save you from financial injuries. The second thing, then the question comes, नीलेश भाई ये तो इतना easy है, तो सब लोग follow क्यों नहीं करते? Long-term investment is not very difficult. So there is another thing from Mahabharata which explains why people don't do the right thing. So just ahead of big epic battle, Krishna Bhagwan walks into Duryodhan's camp and requests Duryodhan not to fight war, give 5 villages to Pandavas, be fair in dealing with Pandav who are his co-brother. Bhagwan Krishna tries to explain what is the righteous path for Duryodhan in various ways, and yet Duryodhan doesn't move. Finally, Duryodhan replies, Janami dharmam, nachme pravrutti. Janami adharmam, nachme nivrutti. Oh great Krishna, please don't tell me what is right, what is dharma. I know exactly what is right, but I can't follow it. And don't waste your time teaching me what is wrong. I can't stay away from it. In all of us, Duryodhan stays. I know eating junk food is bad. Eating late is bad. As a Jain, I should do choviyar. But I don't follow it, and no wonder it is sin. In all of us, Duryodhan prevails. We all know investment is all about common sense. Regular investment, long-term investment, diversified investment, that will secure your financial freedom. But that Duryodhan comes into play. It doesn't allow us to walk on the right path. It misguides onto the wrong path. So please control your Duryodhan. It's very difficult for you to lie to yourself. You can lie to entire world, but how will you lie to yourself? The person in the mirror always speaks the truth. And whenever you see the mirror, think about Duryodhan inside you and how you can control your Duryodhan. If not financial, it will help you in many other non-financial matters. The third question then comes, okay, I'm aware about my Duryodhan. I know I should be a Kumbh Karna in investment. But how do I control my Duryodhan? Is there a shortcut available? Is there an app available which I can download? It will help me in controlling my Duryodhan. So again, going back to Mahabharata, when the war was about to begin, the Kauravas and Pandavas were reaching out to various kings to move them in their favor. The most powerful kingdom was obviously the Yadav kingdom. Balram, Krishna, Satyaki, they were all big warriors. It so happened that Duryodhan and Arjun reached Dwarika at the same time. They both went to Krishna Bhagwan's palace and said, "We have come to meet Krishna." Duryodhan and Krishna Bhagwan at that time was sleeping. So Duryodhan went in and stood on the head of Krishna. Arjun came little later and stood at the legs of Krishna. When Krishna opened his eyes, he could see Arjun first and later on Duryodhan. Krishna inquired, "Why have you come?" Both said, "We have come here to take you into our side. We are going to fight the biggest battle the world has ever seen, and we want you to fight along with us." Krishna said that both me and Balram have taken a vow, we are not going to use any sastra. We will not fight. But yes, Yadav Sena is available. And you decide what do you want? On one side you have Krishna, who is never going to take up astra. On the other side you have mighty Yadav Sena available. Duryodhan quickly jumped in saying that I had come first, though you saw me later, so I should have first right of refusal, first right of choice. Arjun had no problem. Duryodhan took the Yadav Sena, saying that those mighty warriors will be useful in defeating Pandavas, and they will be left only with Krishna. Arjun was happy to take guidance of Krishna. Who won the war? Obviously Pandavas. Why did they win the war? Even though Krishna was not going to use any sastra, he was always there to guide Pandavas. He could put Shikhandi in front to kill Bhishma, and Bhishma had Ichamrutyu, he would not have died. He could use Narova Kunjrova to get Drona. He ensured that Arjun went after Karna. At every time when Pandavas were on the losing side, Krishna came and rescued them. All of us also need a charioteer like Krishna. In the financial world, there are complexities. In a market like today, many people in audience will think, Nilesh bhai, tumse zyada to humne return banaya hai. We should be standing here and you should be sitting there. I agree. In this bull market, a lot of people have made far more money than me. But we are talking about long term. In the monsoon season, mushrooms grow faster than the trees. But eventually, who survives, we all know. We need a charioteer, a mutual fund distributor, a financial advisor who can control our greed and who can control our fear, who can make us aware about our Duryodhan, who can push us from trading to investment, who can push us from momentum to quality, who can push us from buying when markets are falling like March 2020, and who can push us to take profit like in today's market. Many a times we feel there is no need for an advisor, but do remember, Pandavas won Mahabharata not because they were brave or they had more equipments. They won simply because of guidance of Krishna. In the financial market battle, you need a Sarthi, you need a charioteer like Krishna, who could be your financial advisor, mutual fund distributor, insurance agent, or anyone else. How does a distributor make an impact? There is a lady in northern India. She is now about 78 years old. In March 20, her age was about 75 years. She had retired and she had inherited some money from her husband, and she had put in about 4 odd crore in various debt mutual funds and hybrid schemes. In March, April 20, she called her distributor कि बेटा मेरा जो डेट म्यूचुअल फंड हाइब्रिड म्यूचुअल फंड में पैसा है उसे आप इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड में शिफ्ट कर दें. The distributor obviously asked elderly lady, are you sure? It's risky. There is COVID, there is lockdown, markets are falling. And she said, बेटा अभी रिस्क नहीं लूंगी तो कब लूंगी? जान का भरोसा नहीं है. मार्केट से क्या डरना? And she shifted 4 crore rupees somewhere March, April 2020 into equity funds. Today that's worth about 13, 14 crores. One, she has far more relatives now than what she had 3 years back. Second, she has earned in 3 years far more than what she had earned in 75 years. Now, all of you knew that March 20 was a great time to buy. But you didn't have a mutual fund distributor who could execute your trade. You didn't have a financial advisor with whom you can bounce such ideas, which is why you didn't invest, and that's why there is necessity that you need to have a Sarthi or a charioteer, like a distributor advisor, that will help you navigate the financial jungle in a far better manner. Another interesting thing which is worth learning from Mahabharata, Ramayana, like scriptures. Ravan was a very knowledgeable person. He was also a very religious person, Bhakta of Shiva. He created massive empire. Even Indra was captured by Ravan. And despite that, he lost. He lost everything. There's a Gujarati saying which talks about Ravan's downfall. Abhiman to Raja Ravan nu pan nahi takyu. Ego of even Raja Ravan didn't stay. The financial market is also like Ramayana. If you have ego, you will fall. If you are humble, you will survive. You need to have humility to accept opposite views. You need to have humility to accept that you are wrong and market is right. Most of the time, what do? We believe we are right and market is wrong. I have bought a share at 100 rupee. Now price is 90. दुनिया इधर की उधर हो जाए, but 100 के नीचे तो नहीं बेचूंगा. And that 90 rupee stocks becomes 9 rupee stocks or 0 rupee stocks. We don't apply like Raja Ravan stop loss. You kidnapped Sita Mata, fair enough. Stop loss लगा देते, आधे में return कर देते. The ego of any investor is his or her downfall. Be very, very humble. I'll give you an example from my own life. We had bought a stock. It was doing extremely well. It became 5-bagger. We bought at 40 bucks. It was 200 bucks. Life could not have been better than that. The company was declaring good results. We were in touch with promoters. We were reasonably large owner of that business. Everything was going well. One fine day, an analyst called me, Nilesh bhai, ye company mein kuch garbad hai. The first reaction, who are you? I know this company inside out. I'm proud owner of this company. I have made 5 times return in this company. You are idiot. Get out. Ego comes into play. Fortunately for me, that gentleman was persistent. One day he walked into my cabin, and this was a newspaper company. He walked into my cabin without any appointment, with 7 days of that newspaper, and said, Nilesh bhai, measure what is the advertisement in this newspaper. 7 days average will give you very good indication of what will be the average run rate of advertising in the newspaper. Now divide that with the revenue he is showing in the balance sheet. This South-based newspaper, based on that calculation, was charging more than what Times of India was charging. How can Times of India's advertising rate be lower than this company which is publishing newspaper in Hyderabad? It was an eye-opener. Sara ego jameen pe aa gaya. Now, you want to exit that counter. We did our research. We went to advertising buying agencies like Group M and confirmed that what this company was charging versus what this company was showing, an entire truck or a double-decker bus would have gone through it. We started selling the shares. And on the opposite side, the buyer was again a very, very well-known investor. Now you are worried. Should you be selling when the buyer is such a reputed investor? But you keep your emotions under check, you keep your ego under check, and exit it. Today, that share is worth 0. I have made money only because that analyst was kind enough to come to me, despite my egoistic behavior, despite my throwing him out, saying that you are doing kachra rubbish work. And fortunately walked into my cabin, showed me the data, and I could change my view. And that's where we made money. So never ever have ego in the market. Market is far bigger than all of us. And being humble, being situated onto the ground will make material difference. Investment is all about common sense. This is not a story from scripture, but a real life story. Most fund managers are egoistic, and they needed to be brought down to the ground. There was a legendary fund manager called Peter Lynch. He ran Fidelity Magellan. In his time, it was the world's largest equity fund, almost touching $100 billion 3 decades back. And obviously, to manage that large fund, Peter Lynch had a lot of fund managers. And he needed to bring them to the ground. So he used to do lots of tricks. One day he came to office and took all his fund managers in a bus, saying that we are going to a school. Those kids will make a portfolio of stocks, and you will make your portfolio, and you have to outperform the kids' portfolio. Now imagine a fund manager, उसको बोला बच्चों से compete करना और जीतना. Your ego is deflated, you feel humiliated. Obviously fund managers rebelled, but Peter Lynch said, nothing doing, take it seriously, I'm going to evaluate and pay you bonus based on what you do. Poor fund managers had no choice. They opened up their laptop and built a portfolio. They all picked up very high return potential stocks. The kids had no competition. They were doing it for fun. They picked up few random stocks about the companies whose product they were using. Someone was eating Cadbury, so he picked up a Cadbury company. Someone was playing with toys, he picked up a toys company. Someone was eating, something else, he picked up those companies. 1 year down the line, kids' portfolio outperformed fund managers' portfolio by a big margin. All the fund managers under pressure to perform picked up high risk, high return stock. There is no free lunch. High return comes with high risk. Kids had no competition. They picked up companies whose products they were using. These were real live companies. No wonder kids outperform fund managers by a big margin. Limited point. There is no need for a professional degree, a CA, MBA, engineer, IIT, IIM. Market is all about common sense, which is not very commonly available. Some of the most legendary investors of India, they are not having any professional degree, but their analytical prowess, their observation power is so huge that they are able to outperform all of us put together. So investment is all about common sense. So what I have tried to convey, be a long-term investor like Kumbhakarna. When you look into the mirror, try to figure out where your Duryodhan is. If you want to control Duryodhan, then you need a charioteer like Krishna. The results of Mahabharata would have been different if Duryodhan was smart in picking up. And most importantly, never bring ego into your equation about investment. Investment is all about common sense. Finally, let me conclude by saying what Mr. Uday Kotak told me when I joined his group. I said, as an entrepreneur, as a manager, as my chairman, what will be your expectation? How should I run business? How should I behave? And Sunil bhai, it will resonate with you because you would have heard this many times. And he said, Nilesh, there are 2x2 quotients. The first is Bhagwan Ram quotient. Ram is Maryada Purushottam. His objectives and the means to achieve objectives will be always right. As a husband, he had no doubt about integrity of Sita Mata. Yet, as a king Ram, he ensured there was Agni Pariksha. Means and objectives both are right. He said, I want you to be in the Ram quotient while conducting business. Objectives should be right. And means to achieve those objectives should also be right. The second quotient is Krishna quotient. Krishna Bhagwan's objectives are always righteous like Ram Bhagwan. But sometimes he takes shortcuts. To win war of Mahabharata, you have to ensure that Karna is dead. He doesn't tell Arjun that Karna is your elder brother and, compromise with him. He says, go and kill him. Even when he is sitting on the ground at the chariot. Killing Karna was important to win the war of Mahabharata. So Krishna Bhagwan objective is always right, but sometimes a shortcut can be taken. He said, we are all in Kali Yuga. Sometimes, if you have to be in Krishna quotient, that is fine. But then there are two other quadrants. One, Duryodhan. Duryodhan's objectives were always wrong, but his means were always right. Even when he was fighting the battle for his life on the 18th day of Mahabharata war, he didn't hit Bhimsen below the belt because that was against the rule. But the objective of the war was to usurp his own brother's empire, to go back on his own commitment to give back empire after 14 years of Vanvas. So never be Duryodhan where means are right, but objectives are wrong. And finally, there is Ravan quadrant quotient, where neither the objective nor the means are right. He says, never ever be Ravan. So my recommendation to all of you, when you reach managerial positions, when you arrive at conflict in life, always try to be in Ram quadrant, always try to be in Krishna, sometimes be in Krishna quadrant, but never ever go to Ravan or Duryodhan quadrant. Hopefully, this will not only make you a good investor, but also a good human being. All of you are doing wonderful work. Keep on doing that. We are investor in insurance sector. Our success depends upon you. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm still kind of trying to recover from what I've heard in last, about 30 minutes or so. And look, this is what is called the storytelling. A complex subject like investment, he made it look so simple. Absolutely like, even a child can understand what investment is. So I particularly take two lessons from, of course, many lessons, but two which I would like to mention. One is, how to manage my own investment, the kind of philosophies that Nilesh Bhai has talked about. Of course, I'm going to adopt every one of them to manage my own investment. And the second learning that I hope all of you will agree. Everybody says that actuarial work is a black box. The language that actuaries speak, nobody understands that. And so if we can learn from Nilesh Bhai, how do we explain our complex actuarial models in a language that a 10-year-old child can understand, I think we would have succeeded, Nilesh Bhai would have succeeded in communicating what he wanted to communicate. I will not come in between all of you and Nilesh Bhai. I'm sure you have lots of questions. I'll open the house for questions to Nilesh Bhai now.
Nilesh sir, my question is around identifying a financial advisor. In India, where financial advisors are synonymous to distributors, and distributors by nature or by design make money only when they sell product. So how does one find a financial advisor who is unbiased?
Very good question. And the answer is very simple. For example, if you are traveling and you go to a different city and you have to eat outside, how will you choose a restaurant? One, you will ask question to your colleagues there, recommend me good restaurant. So there is a word of mouth available from people who have already experienced that distributor. The second, many a times you go by the brand. If it is Sarvana Bhavan, then the food will be good. If it is McDonald's, then the food will be tasty. So you go by the brand also. The third, many a times you will go to Zomato, Swiggy and figure out what ranking is given. Again, there are rankings available for many of the financial distributors. But at the end of the day, you will go by your own experience. If a branded restaurant, recommended restaurant has served you badly, you are not going to go there. So either word of mouth or brand or online testimonial, and most importantly, your own experience. Same standards will apply on financial distributor.
Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you so much for such an engaging session, sir. Right, so two takeaways I had from your session was one, investment is a common sense, but on the other hand, you said we should have financial advisors. So, should I rely on my common sense or should I rely on financial advisor? I really couldn't, yeah.
So again, very good question. Common sense is available to everyone, but it's not commonly used. So, like your mother, my mother, and am I getting recorded? Otherwise, I would have said my wife, but my mother, your mother. No matter what money our father brought into the house, they ensured that the house was run. And even from that small money given, they used to save something and put it into Burni or in that Sarika Pallu. And those monies used to come out at the time of emergency. Now, saving is common sense. But putting that cash into Burni or Sarika Pallu is not common sense. If that money was put into bank deposits, if that money was put into gold, if that money was put into some stock or a mutual fund, it would have earned money. It would have grown. So many a times people don't know how to use common sense to the fullest extent. And which is why an advisor is necessary.
There's a hand at the end. Sunil.
Yeah. I think listening to Nilesh Bhai is music to ears.
Though not as good as when you sing.
Thank you. No, I think amazing. This is connecting the whole epic to. I've actually heard. I've had the privilege really to have a lot of interaction with Nilesh Bhai on all the KLT meetings and whenever we used to meet. The way Nilesh Bhai really explains the whole the investments concepts and to the simple, people common at large, the whole common people is really amazing. His connect is amazing. I think what I would like, I think most of these people here, they're sitting here actually have a lot of money in their hands. So I think these are your target customers, Nilesh Bhai. So I think let's get them all. But I think what would be your advice? I think if you look at over the last, I would say 4 or 5 years, the mutual fund industry has done amazing. It's like, I think mutual fund sahi hai. That's mutual fund is the way to go. And everybody is talking about mutual fund. You look at the new generations, people are just in the college and they start getting the jobs and immediately start talking about the mutual funds. The insurance is not talked about that way. I think insurance still remains a product wherein it actually is being sold. I think mutual fund has reached a level where it is being bought. What would be your advice for, and all these guys sitting here are the technocrats. These are the financial engineers, and they understand the investments. I mean, they've studied so much of investments is one of the components of before they qualify as an actuary. And that too very high investments, the complex investments that they do, all the fraud, derivatives, etc., etc. What would be your advice for the insurance industry to really go the mutual fund path to be successful?
Great question, Sunil Bhai. And I think the tagline of LIC, Jindagi ke saath bhi, Zindagi ke baad bhi, that is something which insurance companies will have to walk. Not that you are not walking right now, but it needs to be demonstrated to the consumers. Health insurance is must. Accident insurance is must. And today, you read in newspaper, very young people doing exercise in gym suddenly collapse and die. That news is becoming headline, very sad news. But has anyone ever asked, If one gentleman or women had a housing loan but no insurance, what happened? A lifestyle of a family will get compromised if something happens to you without insurance. I think those stories need to go out. People need to appreciate the importance of insurance. Everyone thinks that's not going to happen to me. मैं तो जिम जाता ही नहीं हूं. अरे भाई जिम नहीं जाता है तो रास्ते में भी उड़ जाएगा यार. I mean, there was a question in Mahabharata where Yudhishthir goes to drink water. So Pandavas were in jungle and they wanted water. And one by one, all the 4 brothers go, no one comes back. And then Yudhishthir goes. And when he's about to take water, there is this voice which says that you answer my question. And if you answer right, then not only you will get water, but I will also give back your 4 brothers. And one question among those questioned by Yaksha was, what is the irony of life? And Yudhishthir replies that everyone knows they are going to be dead one day, and yet they live as if they are never going to die. That's the biggest irony of life. The same thing, after Yudhishthir has explained, continues with us today. And insurance industry needs to bring it to the attention of consumers, how people have benefited by taking insurance in the case of exigencies, and how they have suffered. If this picture can become as common, जब हम लोग बहुत छोटे थे तो in the Karyana store there used to be a poster. One trader will be very poor saying that I sold on credit, and one trader will be sitting aram se saying I have sold on cash. Insurance industry has to create a poster. I bought insurance, I didn't bought insurance.
There was one question at the end.
So Howard Marks in his book has mentioned that when he started his career in 1970, the idea of Nifty 50 was quite famous in the US. So what happened is that the price to earnings ratio of the top companies increased to 80-90. And by 1975, what happened is these stocks fell by 80-90% and the P ratio came to 8-9. So my question is mainly regarding the mutual fund industry. As it is booming and as index investing is growing, so will we see such a similar scenario in the future in India? Thank you.
So will there be corrections in the market? Undoubtedly, yes. If you see the natural sequencing, 92 we witnessed Harshad Mehta correction, 2000 we witnessed telecom media technology correction, 2008 we witnessed global financial crisis correction, 2020 we witnessed COVID correction. By the simple law of average, 2028, be careful. So will there be corrections in the market? Undoubtedly, yes. Will we fall? Undoubtedly, yes. But like in the boxing match, they say, you don't lose till such time you don't stand up. The day you fall and you don't stand up, you lose the match. So in market, गिरना तो तकदीर है, but गिर के खड़ा होना ये अपनी तदबीर रहेगी.
One last question, somebody in the middle was, yeah. That's the last one, no, sorry, here, in the middle.
Sir, you have explained about various ways of Ravan way, the Rama way, Duryodhan way, Krishna way. There is one more way which is more interesting, the Vibhishan way. When to exit, where to go, and where to settle. And this will be a greatest lesson from the investment. I would like to hear from you, sir.
So there is a quote which says that never ask a barber whether you need a haircut or not. Same way, never ask fund manager when should I redeem the money. But your question is very, very important. What Vibhishan teaches us how to exit. He exited Ravan's camp to Ram's camp at the right time and eventually ended up becoming, into different orbit. When do you decide to book profit? When do you decide to sell? There is no one right way. There are multiple ways. The first is asset allocation principle. For example, today you will be overweight equity compared to your neutral allocation because markets have run up. Now, there are signs of euphoria visible in SME exchange, in micro caps, in mini caps. Is it time to take some profit out and become neutral weight equity? Answer is yes. In March 20, compared to your equal weight or neutral weight, you would have become underweight equity because prices have corrected. Was that time to buy equity despite losses? Answer is yes. Now, does that mean that I would have bought all my equity at 7,500 on 27th March 20? Answer is no. I would have bought something at 9,000, something at 8,000, something at 7,800, something back at 8,500, something back at 9,000. But I would have averaged myself in a market which was cheaper. So asset allocation will tell you when to book profit and when to invest. Obviously, neither you will do it at the top nor you will do it at the bottom. The second, like Vibhishan quit Ravan when he realized that Ravan's governance systems were wrong. The value systems were wrong. Now, in Yes Bank, when you realize that promoters' value systems have gone wrong, it was time to exit. What did we do? Today, maximum number of retail shareholders in a company is in Yes Bank. So you have to do exactly opposite of what everyone else has done on the street. They bought because prices were down, whereas the right thing was to exit that stock because corporate governance or the value system of the company or promoter was not correct. The third is, you get a better opportunity. So for example, you have been invested into, let's say, small and mid-cap fund. They've delivered great return. Now, is it time to take some profit there and move into a large cap fund or a large and mid-cap fund? Answer is yes, because large caps today trade at 6% premium to historical average. Small cap trades at 40% premium to historical average. So I'm reducing my risk and trying to move to a better risk-return trade-off. So depending upon asset allocation, better opportunity, or misgovernance, one can decide when to become Vibhishan. But as a fund manager, I will prefer be a Kumbhkarna, paisa dalo, bhul jao.
I think we would like to end our session here, and thank you very much, Nilesh Bhai. The Institute of Actuaries is grateful to Mr. Nilesh Shah for taking out time for this session, and I would be failing in my duty if I do not thank Mayur Bhai, Mr. Mayur Ankolekar, who is the chair of our P13 program group, who could request Mr. Nilesh Shah to spare time for this session. Thanks very much, Mayur Bhai. Thank you.
Thank you, Anurag. Thank you, Nilesh. Can I have Kailash Mittal on the stage, please? To please give a small token of appreciation to Mr. Shah and Anurag.